So today I am going to be talking about the film The Lodger from 1927. So it was actually directed by the famous Alfred Hitchcock, and he's done many famous thrillers. Um, and it was actually based off a novel written by Miss Belloc Lowndes. Um, it was a popular movie back then. So the main characters really are Daisy and her family, the lodger, and her boyfriend Joe. So the plot really is just that there's a murderer in the town that they have no idea who it is, and he is murdering blonde women. So everyone is panicked and frightened. Now, the boyfriend Joe is on the case and he is trying to solve it to make himself a higher up cop. And it just so happens that Daisy's parents are renting out one of their rooms in their house, and the lodger, which is his character's name, ends up coming just about the time the murders start happening. So no one actually suspects anything at the beginning, but later on in the film, Joe actually believes that the lodger is the murderer. It's partially just because he is really, really eerie in his presence and almost gives you a sense of uncomfortableness when you even watch him on the screen. So that and that Joe notices that he likes Daisy, his girlfriend, causes him to try and find any evidence he can against the lodger. So, I mean, this is an old film that was silent and in black and white. So, many people nowadays don't exactly like that genre of film. But personally, I find that The Lodger was well done for the period of time that it was in. So there was film had just been starting not too many years ago, and Alfred Hitchcock was directing this one. It's one of the thrillers that has made him a famous director. And the reason why I feel like it was well done is because even though it's black and white, Hitchcock actually did a great job with making sure the scenes and the film felt like there was eeriness and it was scary to be around the lodger, and that the town was just in crazy panic, freaking out that if their hair was blonde and they were a woman, they would die one of these days on Tuesday. Tuesday was a day that a woman would be found murdered, and so there were a lot of women back then that had blonde hair, and a lot of the workers who were models and worked late at night would try and wear wigs and try and cover up their hair just so that they wouldn't notice that they were blonde and hopefully live through the night. But they did a great job on making that whole film eerie and just like there's a cynical presence in the air somewhere. It wasn't always shown, and they didn't show the murders or anything, but you could definitely feel how scary it would have been to be in that situation. And I think that if a film can do that, that's definitely something that is very important, and it makes the film so much better if the audience can relate like that. I'm not even sure that it would have been as well done if it was in color nowadays, or even with words for that matter. It being silent made it so much more powerful, because you really felt the emotions more than trying to listen to what the characters were saying, and it didn't need those words. They were perfectly portrayed with the motions that they were using, how the characters looked, and definitely the shadowing and stuff like that. They did a lot of close-up shots with many of the characters, which definitely helped with you getting a sense of their personality. They didn't really have camera angles though, but that is typical to see in movies that are older. They are mostly landscape, traditional film production angles, and close-ups. But even with that, I feel like the landscape ones and the close-ups did a great job in showing you um, the scariness of the film and how real it could be, and portraying emotions to the audience. Um, and the actor Ivor Novello, who played the Lodger, did an amazing job at making sure he looked terrifying. He was so mysterious the minute he came on the screen, and you thought for sure he was the killer. And there was no way it was going to change your mind. He just felt like he was the killer, and there were things that made you think he was. But then at the end, you end up finding out that it's not him, that he was just an innocent guy who happened to be there at the wrong time, for making it look like he was the killer, and he was actually doing it to find the killer. So he wasn't really involved in killing any of the women. His sister was actually one of the first girls murdered. So he dedicated his life to coming there and finding who it was. But that ended up leading to him looking like the killer. But the use of their shadowing and the way that the characters gave you a sense of who they were without any words made this film an amazing one, in my opinion. For it being done in 1927 and watching it now, I still feel the appreciation of what Alfred Hitchcock portrayed to us and how he makes the audience feel when you watch his films. So I hope you enjoyed that.